how's it going? My name is Jay and welcome to the channel, and welcome back to October Lake in Planet Zoo, a project where we're working on building this really large park situated in the Canadian Highlands. In today's episode we're going to be building a habitat for some Binturong. If that sounds good to you, and if you do like today's video, please do consider leaving a like on the video, and of course subscribe for more Planet Zoo content. So, in today's video we're going to be continuing our work with the Southeast Asian pack, and we're going to be using the Binturong, which is quite possibly one of my favorite from the pack, really. It's one of the most unique animals I can really think of. It's something I'm very familiar with. They're really common in zoos in Malaysia, which is again where I'm from, and they're just such interesting little dudes. They're like very fascinating animals, and they're just so weird in lots of really unexpected ways, and we'll talk about that as we go along. But in terms of the habitat, what we're going to be doing is building kind of along the bottom end of where the clouded leopard habitat was, so kind of keeping to that Southeast Asian theme in this area. And it's going to be not the biggest habitat because, again, Binturongs are relatively tiny compared to most of the animals so far that we've built habitats for. They're about the size of say I don't know, kind of like a red panda size, I guess, not maybe a bit bigger. They have they're longer for sure because they've got really big thick tails which are really long. They can get up to about 30 kilograms in weight roughly, so definitely a bit bigger than a lot bigger than a cat, but still a decent size, I guess. I don't even know how to describe it. Maybe the size of a medium dog, kind of, but entirely different body plan, of course. I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyways, yeah, the habitat itself is going to be kind of semi-indoor. It's not really indoor, most of it's outdoor, but where you see this viewing area here is kind of partially covered, so the Binturong can get out of the cold if they want to, because again, we are building in the taiga biome. It's going to be kind of cold, so we do have all that space. Again, sticking to very similar themes that we've built with previously, with the nice quite rich stained wood color, a lot of the breeze block columns, stuff like that. A bit of glass for the viewing area, and on the outside we're going to be using more of the kind of similar building techniques to what we were using in the top of the cliff. So if you think back to some of our earlier habitat builds, for the red panda, for the Galapagos giant tortoise, for the okapi, kind of that sort of building style. Not in terms of the habitat content itself, but more so in the fences, the walls, that sort of thing. So kind of sticking to that sort of theme, and using lots of the faux rocks here to give the Binturongs lots of space to access. Once you put them in, they really do seem to enjoy the amount of space they have, and they love climbing everywhere, which is so great. The second I put them in the habitat, they started climbing over everything, and that's really nice to watch. So I don't know whether Frontiers tweak the climbing mechanics so that climbing animals climb more, but they really do seem to enjoy climbing all over the place, so it's really cool to watch. So while we're building all this, let's talk about this Binturong, because like I said, they're really interesting animals. So they are native to Southeast Asia in general. They kind of in the same family of animals as things like civets, so palm civets, Malayan civets, that sort of thing. And palm civets are actually surprisingly common in Malaysia. We used to have one that actually came by my house in the middle of the night and ate our fruits, and my parents actually set up a little motion camera just to see whether because we didn't know what was eating our fruits at the time, so a little motion camera, and then we caught it on camera one night and we just oh, it's a civet. So yeah. But the Binturong, of course, is a member of that much larger family. Sorry again, I'm just coughing a little bit. But yeah, it's very interesting because it doesn't really look that much like other civets. It's a deep, rich black color. It gets a bit brown sometimes, but it's also got this salt and pepper kind of vibe where it's got these specks of white and grey all over its body, and it's got these beautiful amber colored eyes with really tiny slit pupils. Really interesting looking, but they're very unique. They're also known as bear cats, which you can kind of tell why. They look like a bear cat. They've got beautiful little paws with these adorable hands which they use for climbing. Of course, they got a very thick, long tail, which is actually prehensile. They use that for balance while they're climbing around, and they can actually also hang from them. They can wrap their tail around a branch and hang down, which is really cool. They also have these really interesting tufts of fur behind their ears, which are really like poofy and like fluffy, and they just look super cute with them. I've seen lots of these animals, like I said, in zoos around Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand. They surprisingly come on the Philippines as well, though they're not native to the Philippines, but I have seen them in zoos there as well. But yeah, they're relatively common in zoos. They're also common in zoos elsewhere in the world. They're surprisingly like, they do well in captivity. They eat well, they breed, you know, the usual stuff, which is quite good. They are also, one of the really interesting fun facts about them is that they smell like popcorn. And that sounds really weird, but they actually do. And it's because they have like musk glands or scent glands, and that smell surprisingly smells like popcorn. And a lot of people who see these in zoos will like say like, oh, I smell popcorn, which is really funny. They are rainforest animals for the most part, though they live at higher elevations sometimes. They do get predated upon by larger predators like the clouded leopard, for example. But they eat themselves. They eat basically whatever they can find: fruit, vegetation, fish, insects. They are pretty much as omnivorous as you can really get. They eat pretty much anything. They used to have Binturongs at London Zoo. They don't have them anymore, but they used to have them there too. And I'm actually going to London Zoo next week, and I'm gonna film some stuff there to put on the channel, just like a little vlog, I guess, because it is one of my favorite zoos. But yeah, that was just a random tangent, but I will check that out, and you know, I'll put a little video of the zoo on here. Yeah, but back to the Binturong itself. It is quite a shy animal. They kind of hide around most of the time. They are, again, super arboreal, spend most of the time in trees, and they're just really cool dudes. I really like them. They're not super endangered, but they are declining, unfortunately, so they are vulnerable. And one interesting thing, in Malaysia, it has been seen that so in Malaysia, we have the Orang Asli, which are our kind of native peoples. They tend to live in slightly more forested parts of the country. And they've been seen to actually have some Binturongs as like pets in their villages, which is quite interesting to see. So like they can be, well, I wouldn't say they can be domesticated because they really can't properly be. But they can live kind of in a reasonable setting with humans, like without feeling overly distressed, basically. But again, I don't think these are animals that should, or you know, really should be in like a domestic setting. They should be in, if they're in captivity, they should be in a zoo, basically. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Binturong. Again, such a fascinating creature. I absolutely love them. So interesting. And definitely one of the more unique species we now have in the game. And something I quite like personally. Now, going back to the habitat build, we are coming up towards the end of it now. We're just adding in all the rocks, and soon we're going to add the foliage and some climbing structures. And that will be pretty much the end of the habitat. As you can see, we're making a little bit of a, not really a moat, but just kind of some trim on the habitat. I'm doing that whole pebble technique again, where I use the new billboards we got, and adding in a pebble texture and just stretching that across. And then I'll add in some foliage towards the end, and some of the faux rocks as well to blend it in a bit. And I think it looks really nice. Stuff like this just adds a bit more realism, I think. Or not even realism, just more interest in general. And I think it looks pretty good. And this area of the park is going to be, I think, not, like, we're not going to put much more animals in this kind of level. Because again, the path does go down immediately after. But we're going to put in some infrastructure, maybe an information hut, that sort of stuff. And maybe, I don't actually know. I don't really have any plans for the next animal to put in the park, so let me know in the comments down below what you think we should do. I'm thinking maybe the, I could probably find space for the Barbarossa. Or the Dole. The Dole would be pretty cool. And of course, there's still plenty of like base game animals that I really want to include, which we haven't done yet. Like, I really want to include the Formosan black bear. I want to include the grey wolf, of course, or the timber wolf. So that's another one I really want to include. And here you're going to see me just start using the foliage, the habitat enrichment items, that sort of thing, and just flesh out the habitat a lot more. One more thing I want to mention is that, so if you were following this pack's release, you'll know that when they first released the trailer, people were kind of annoyed at how the Binturong looked like, because the model wasn't very realistic. And I at first didn't think it was that bad, but then looking back on it, I think it was kind of a bit of a missed, like just one of the rare times where I think Planet Zoo's kind of dropped the ball a little bit with the animals, which is really unusual because usually the animals are incredibly high quality. So what they ended up doing was actually the developers remodeled and redid the Binturong, and now it looks incredible. Like, it was really quite a great thing because I think it just shows that they really listen to like us who play the game. They listen to like our concerns and all that, and it was really nice to see that they actually genuinely made the effort to change the animal to really portray it in the best way possible. And I think it really turned out well because now looking at the Binturong in the game, they're beautiful. They look so good, very, very realistic, definitely up to par with the quality of the other animals, because if there's one thing I can never fault Planet Zoo for, it's the quality of the animals. They're always so good, and I'm always extremely pleased. But yeah, it was just really interesting to see, and it just made me kind of like think that, yeah, it's really cool that they put in all that effort to give us the best animal quality possible, and that they listened to us when, you know, people said that, oh, maybe that one needs a little bit more time in the oven, so to speak. But yeah, I thought that was just pretty cool. Anyways, we are coming up to the end. I'm just making a climbing structure here. Again, let me know in the comments what you want to see next in October Lake. I'm very, very open to suggestions. Of course, this was a smaller habitat, so the episode itself is going to be a bit shorter than usual. In fact, this whole week, I think all my episodes for everything are quite short. So like my Prehistoric Kingdom video was like 10 minutes long or something on Monday. And yeah, so relatively short videos this week, but maybe next week we'll have something longer depending on what we end up doing. A couple other things I want to do with October Lake is that I want to have an episode just dedicated to kind of cleaning things up around the place, adding in new billboards, maybe some infrastructure here and there, so like some guest buildings. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. Here again, adding in a bit more pebbles. We're pretty much coming up to the end now, and we're just doing final kind of touches here and there. And then we're gonna hop into the cinematics, which I need to film because, once again, I've mentioned this a few times, my game has been having this really weird lagging issue whenever I put an animal into a habitat, because I think it needs to calculate the climbing area, and for some reason it takes a while. So I can never record the cinematics right after I finish building. I always have to like put the game down and let it kind of settle before I go and record the cinematics. I'll do that after this. Adding in lots of foliage towards the end here. These guys again are rainforest animals, so lots of foliage would definitely help. Lots of bamboo, because I think bamboo is, again, I've mentioned this before, but I think bamboo is the closest you can get to kind of bridging the gap between cold weather climates like the taiga biome and like humid, hot biomes like the tropical biome, because bamboo is so versatile and it really fits kind of wherever you want to put it. So I think it ended up looking really nice. I put in 4 Binturongs here. They're generally solitary animals. They occasionally mate and stay in pairs, but in captivity they've put a few together with really no adverse effects. They don't seem to mind each other. They kind of just hang out. They're pretty chill animals, which is kind of cool to see. Like, I think because they are so shy and stuff like that, having more of the same species isn't that bad a thing, as in like they feel more comfort in that group, but they're not necessarily like in need of it basically. But obviously that's just speculation on my part. I am not sure. I am not a Binturong expert or a Binturong myself. I'm human, I think. Where did that come from? I don't know why I said that. Anyways, we're at the end of the episode now. Hope you've enjoyed it. Like the video if you did like it. Do subscribe for more Planet Zoo video every Wednesday at 5 PM UK time. Jurassic World Evolutions every Friday 5 PM UK time. And of course, Prehistoric Kingdom videos every Monday at 5 PM UK time. Yeah, as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!